We're live. Evening, Faye. How are you?
Hello, yeah, good tonight, thanks. Bit rainy outside, but nice and snug indoors.
I know. Yeah, it's definitely got that autumnal feel. So we're going to be, yeah, talking about. Sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. We definitely got that autumnal feel. Sorry, I had feedback coming from my earphones. So thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. We're here to talk about World Mental Health Day, a really important and very poignant topic. Anyway, but in particular, as we're coming out of lockdown and things are really we're really starting to get back to grips with teaching, socializing, not normal yet, but perhaps some shade of where we used to be. And we're ahead of schedule, and we've planned to come do this Facebook Live to give support for fantastic educators and parents that might want to talk about the subject or planning some time to go over it. And it's a brilliant PSHE link and actually just a really nice whole school assembly and topic as well. So we've got plenty of things to get our teeth into. That's enough of me talking. We'll hand over to our lovely host, Faye. Faye, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Twinkle?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, great to be here tonight. I'm Faye. I've been a teacher for over 20 years, but been with Twinkle as a content writer for over 4 years, and written lots of PSHE content. And as you say, tonight's focus is all about mental health, really important topic. So we're hoping that we can help everyone with some resources we've put together because that's good for your mental health to not have to spend all your time preparing teaching resources. So World Mental Health Day. Well, what is it? It's an annual event that's taking place in October. It's on October the 11th. Um, there are several events similar to this throughout the year. Awareness Week. All of these events are really great opportunities to talk about it without feeling like you're shoehorning it into the curriculum. Perhaps if you've got that organised awareness day or week, then that's a great chance to tackle the topic. Um, and our whole school assembly that we've created is a really great way in. Assemblies are a super way to introduce a themed day or week and explain to both Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 a little bit about it. And even if that's all you're able to do and the only amount of time you're able to give to an event, that's still great if you can address it in an assembly. So check out our whole school assembly for World Mental Health Day. Each year the event has a different theme. So this year's theme is a really interesting one, really important one, and that's mental health in an unequal world. Not the easiest topic, perhaps, to address with primary school age children, but we do hope that we've managed to do that in some of our resources. I think the underpinning themes here are that everyone should have the right to speak out if they're struggling, and everyone should have the access to help if they need it with their mental health. And sadly, that isn't the case. And for whatever reason, different reasons, um, people don't have equal access to support with their mental health at the moment. So lots of charities and organisations are really trying to focus on that and trying to get across that message that we do all need to have more support and that there should be equal support. And it also helps kind of raise awareness of mental health itself, but helps people think a little bit more about respecting the mental health rights of others, um, and whether we could do more to make it more kind of equal and fair. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about why we should be teaching about mental health. And you touched on it, Alex, when you said perhaps now more than ever, with the recent, it's not even recent now, it's a couple of years, really tough years with COVID and lockdowns and restrictions. and impacts to our social lives, and our work lives, our school lives, family lives. It has definitely had, everyone knows, there's been lots of research as well around the impact that it's had on our mental health, and very different for different people, different impacts. But as a global issue, the impact that COVID has had on our mental health is something that really needs to be looked at and talked about. So this sort of event, World Mental Health Day, is a really great chance to raise awareness of the fact that everyone has mental health, just as we all have physical health. And that means that everyone potentially can at some point struggle with their mental health and may suffer from mental illness, just as any one of us can at some point struggle with physical illness. So if we can just raise awareness and also open up that dialogue. So it's about breaking down taboos or stigmas linked to mental health and well-being that sadly do still exist. We can try to make those conversations easier to have, and that can start at a really young age, and we can help children to realise that it's okay to talk about mental health and well-being. The other reason, of course, why we need to teach about mental health is because it's actually now part of the statutory health education curriculum, which those of us who work in Twinkle Life are thrilled about. It's really important. So now relationships and health education is statutory for primary school children, and part of those statutory objectives, some of those objectives cover specifically about mental health, and that's brilliant. So you might, as a school, choose to use some of these awareness days and events that come up throughout the school year to cover some of those objectives. Again, as we said, that might be through whole school activities, but ideally it's going to be also with your class, and making sure that you're covering some of the objectives in a little bit more depth as part of your PSHE curriculum and provision. So moving on to how we can teach it. Well, we all understand that, like many aspects of the PSHE curriculum, teaching about mental health is quite a tricky topic. It can be quite a sensitive subject to teach. Many teachers may feel less than confident, and as parents we might feel that it's a difficult subject to talk about with our children, and that's okay. I think we all need to acknowledge that's okay, but it's not okay to then just steer away from it, which again is why it's great that this is now a statutory part of the curriculum. We do need to talk about it. So with younger children, or actually with all children, a lovely way to just introduce a topic like this might be through something as simple as a colouring sheet. So just having that during register time on World Mental Health Day, as the children come in, and you've written perhaps on the board next to the date that it is World Mental Health Day, that in itself is giving just that sort of priority to the fact that there's a day for this, and that means it's important. That gets that message across. With younger children, when it comes to teaching about mental health, it's really very much focused on talking about feelings, literally helping children to explore, recognise, identify and discuss their own feelings, and help to recognise other people's emotions. Best practice really just to open up that conversation and make sure they've got the vocabulary and that awareness, because then that gives them something to build on as they get older. So older children moving into Key Stage 2, they will then be able to talk more about deeper emotions, uncomfortable emotions, different contexts and situations and scenarios that can provoke certain emotions. And they can start to really learn more about coping strategies and ways to deal with difficult emotions. Again, fairly young children can start to develop those strategies, and having that self-awareness is really empowering and really important. something that many of us as adults are still learning to do. So if we can teach children some of those skills when they're younger, that's really valuable. One way to teach about mental health that's really effective is through circle times, and we've created some circle time packs for Key Stage 1, lower Key Stage 2 and upper Key Stage 2. Circle time is a really nice, calm way to create a safe environment, create that safe space. You can set the ground rules. You can make sure children know that there isn't any onus on them to have to talk or share if they don't want to, but equally you can make sure everybody does get a turn to speak, and you can really work on respecting what others have to say, while keeping it still quite objective, and it doesn't have to get personal if you don't want it to, and if the children don't want it to. So we hope our circle time packs will be really useful. Again, you can tailor it to your children's needs and perhaps spend a shorter time or a longer time, depending on how much scope you've got to fit that in that day or that week. We've also created some specific lesson packs about mental health and about World Mental Health Day. So again, we've got one for Key Stage 1, one for lower Key Stage 2, one for upper Key Stage 2, so that it's pitched just right, and hopefully you can then delve a little bit more deeply into that. And we've made sure you've got everything you need. So the plan's there, presentation's there, and then there's some follow-up activities for your class to do, time willing. Of course, teaching about mental health through the PSHE curriculum is perfect and vital. We have at Twinkle Life developed a spiral curriculum for all of your PSHE curriculum. So the mental health objectives are covered through that. We've actually got a really nice taster pack on site where you can see some of the lessons and activities that really support teaching on mental health awareness. So that might be a really nice way in, so you can have an explore of some of our resources in our scheme of work. When it comes to teaching about this year's theme, so like we said, it's mental health in an unequal world. And this theme can, we feel, be effectively discussed with Key Stage 2 children. There's lots of great links there with global citizenship and respecting rights. And we've actually on site in Twinkle Life got a whole unit of work on respecting rights, which is a really lovely unit to get children really talking and thinking a bit more deeply about the rights that we all have and should have, and whether we do all have them, and how we can respect other people's rights. So this, it ties in really nicely with this year's theme. Again, take a look, have a look at the planning overviews, see what we can offer for Key Stage 1, lower Key Stage 2 and upper Key Stage 2. And then I'd say when it comes to teaching about World Mental Health Day, if you've only got a tiny window, then perhaps you'll be interested in our activity pack that we've put together, and you might have time to use all the resources there. But even if you just picked one like the word search or a mental health bingo game, again, you're just highlighting the importance of talking about mental health with your class. And, you know, if you can squeeze anything in, that's better than nothing. I guess a key message I'd like to finish with is whenever we're talking about mental health and teaching about it with our children at home, in school, in any setting, I think the really key message to get across to children is that it is okay to talk about it. It's okay to not feel okay, and that can happen to all of us at any time, and that it is important to get help. And that's the message we're always trying to get across to children, that it's okay to need help, and when you feel you need that help, please seek it from a trusted adult at home or in school, and keep asking for help until you get it, because that's the way forward for everybody getting, you know, on a path towards positive mental well-being, and it starts really young. So we really hope that you can use some of our resources and that they save you time. As Alex said, we're getting in there early. We hope you can you know, if you haven't yet booked this special day on the 11th of October, or you want to teach it around that time, if you haven't booked that into your school calendar, please do. See if you can delve into it a little bit and cover some of those important objectives using some of our resources. Thanks ever so much for joining.
Thank you very much for a really informative live. I think that was yeah, fantastic. That was, I think if I was watching this back and joining us, then there's plenty of stuff to like really support, and I think that's where the stuff's really good at Twinkl Life too. Just yeah, it gives that really good crutch and base for people to be able to take what they want, and like you say, it just even opens up that opportunity for people maybe to talk, or even starts a conversation that people didn't know they need to have, or something like that. So
Yeah.
and it's sort of it might be there might lead to some hard conversations or supportive conversations for whatever. So if people were in that position as like practitioners, or had that habits and pieces that they like to like follow up with, and felt that Twinkl Life could support them, or yeah, that this segment could support them, where might they find some more information about the fabulous work that you guys do, and yeah, how could they get in touch?
Yeah, so absolutely. If you go over to Twinkl, and in the different collections, in the different products, you can find Twinkl Life there, and then you can access all sorts of things there. We've got lots of adult guidance, which we appreciate in a subject like PSHE is really valuable, because a lot of the topics and subjects are sensitive and tricky, and not always easy. So lots of supporting guidance. We've got the PSHE subject leaders chat on Facebook, which is a great group to join, and you can ask questions, and you know, got lots of people offering advice and support to one another, which is what it's all about.